offer to them that I'll talk about in a minute, where you actually offer to fix the fence for them, right? And that's what you want. And they're like, yeah, exactly. We want that kind of a dialogue with the buyers. But then there's the other kind of feedback where they would never buy your house in a million years. And you can't worry about that. You can't lose sleep about that. Oh, people are saying it's too small. Well, what are you going to do? Expand the house? People don't like the busy street. What are you going to do? Pick it up and move it? I don't see any wheels when I was outside. I was looking around. This thing looks like it's pretty attached, right? So you can't do anything about that except for one thing. If it's consistent and they're telling you over and over again that they think it's too small, or they think that it's not the neighborhood, or whatever they're giving you, if there's consistent feedback of things you cannot control about the house, that probably means the house is priced incorrectly, and the other homes that the buyer's seeing are bigger, they are newer, they are in more desirable school districts, or whatever it is that the buyers think about the houses. So we'll have to deal with that as it comes, but just understand, if the feedback's consistent, you have to deal with it. And if it's not something you can physically change in the house, it usually means the price. So I'm just purely educating at this point. This isn't a sales pitch, because clearly nobody wants to hear that they're overpriced before they even pick a price. But I'm preparing them for future price reductions, and I'm showing them I know what the hell I'm doing, which is really important, because nobody else they've met with has a clue what they're doing. Okay? So we're on the showing time and the feedback. And then I also let them know you're going to get a weekly update. Okay, so I mentioned my team to you before. Our customer service manager, her name is Carrie. She's awesome. She does a great job of getting on top of all the buyers, getting as much of the feedback as possible. Just so you know, most people, they don't want to fill that stuff out. Okay, so we're going to ask everybody for feedback about your house. Less than half of them are going to fill it out. Okay, Carrie will chase them down by phone. She can get a few more, but don't freak out if less than half of the showings you even get feedback for. That's called normal. Okay, just know this. They looked at your house and they ran away. They're obviously not interested in buying it. Right? And they get that. Right? When I say that, they usually understand. They don't like hearing it, but again, this has to be about selling the house, not getting the listing. So if we walk in and promise the moon and the stars at the listing appointment, and then we can't deliver anything that we talked about in the actual listing, that's just setting us up for failure, right? That's inventory that's not selling. So we need to set these people up for success at every point of getting the listing. It's not just about price, it's about educating them as well. Okay, so there's a lot to do to get a home sold. We added it up once, and we determined that there's about 130 or 140 things to do with every single home sale. Okay? And what we found is that the way the industry operates is pretty consistent across the board. This is the stuff that's taught at most of the traditional real estate brokerages. This is what they taught me when I first got into the business. When I first started in real estate, I was at Caldwell Banker, and then I went to Remax, and then I went to Keller Williams before we started our own company, Platinum Realty Team. The reason we started our own company, quite simply, is because we didn't want any restrictions in how we served our clients. It's just a lot better for our clients that we don't have some franchise trying to tell us what to do, because they don't have a system anyway. They're all making it up as they go along in these places like Denver, Colorado, and Austin, Texas. So we just got rid of those guys, and we do it ourselves. So what we were taught to do, and what we call the ABCs of real estate, is first, A, they advertise themselves, right? Then they'll bang a sign into your property. They'll create an ad for the newspaper, and maybe they'll run it. D, they'll download your listing to the MLS and maybe a couple of websites. Right? E, they'll encourage their office to show it. F, they figure they might try a traditional open house. And then when all else fails, they get on their knees and pray it will sell. And you guys have seen this before, so you're not laughing, but trust me, they laugh at that every single time. Doctor, lawyer, I don't care. They always laugh at that. Right? So expect that. Don't be shy about doing the ABCs of real estate with some conviction, because they're going to laugh at the G, I guarantee you. All right? And so I say, you're laughing at the last one, but in all seriousness, you met with some other agents this week. Did they tell you anything that they're doing to get homes sold that's not in this list, this sort of baseline stuff that the industry does? And almost never. They'll almost always say, no, that was pretty much it. Occasionally, they'll throw in broker open house because they don't even understand what that is. They just know an agent made a really big deal about it, right? And so they'll say, well, they were going to do this thing where Tuesday night they're going to bring all the agents over and there's going to be food, and they said that would really help sell the house, right? And I'll be like, okay. So the agents that don't have any clients all get together Tuesday night at 7 to eat your food. Is that clear? Because my guys are all out showing houses on Tuesday nights to our actual buyers. So, I mean, again, this is war. This is your livelihood. If you don't poke holes through the other agent without ever calling them out by name, just to be clear. The only reason I mentioned other brokerages by name is because I worked at them. So I'm telling the truth. Don't call out another company or another agent by name, and don't get dragged into that. All right? Well, Rosemarie, we met with Susie from ABC Realty, and she's heard of your company, and she had some pretty bad things to say about you guys. What do you think about that? I don't know anything about how Susie conducts her business. I'm just here to talk to you about how we conduct our business. I just showed you about 9 or 10 or 15 of our past clients that gave us testimonials. If you go on Zillow, you'll see over 50. If you go on Trulia, you'll see over 100. And if you'd like, I could even give you phone numbers of clients of ours who are very happy. I'd be happy to give you that information. I don't expect my competitors to like me. That really puts an end to it. Because remember, if they ask that question, they're not thinking that way. They may work in a job where all you do is get up every day, go to work, and go home and criticize salespeople. They don't know how the world of sales works. So if they're asking that question, it means it had an impact on them. Whatever it was that Susie said, and by the way, I've never had anything that specific. The worst I've ever heard was just, them mentioning another agent or something like that. But my point is, as we grow and have more and more success, which we are, they're going to have more people taking shots at us. You need to understand that you don't ever want to get into that. Just focus on what we do and positive, and trust me, it'll come across as professional that you didn't get into the mudslinging with anybody else. It doesn't help, and truthfully, some people do it just to test you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's not even real in some cases. They just want to see what kind of person you are. So never get dragged down into that sort of thing. You'll never win. You will never win, so don't waste your time addressing anything that another agent supposedly said. And you'll look really professional if you take the high road, right? So like I said, I would never name other companies other than just the fact that I worked for them and I can personally say what they did, but I wouldn't say it if I hadn't worked there. Let's face it, nobody likes their competitors. You're not supposed to. I always think it's funny that people don't get that, You know that if you wore a blue shirt at Coke, you'd probably get reprimanded, and vice versa. If you wore red to work at Pepsi, you would get, I don't think you'd get fired the first offense, but you would be spoken to. It's a big deal. So I always laugh when people say things. I just say that sometimes to a seller. When they bring up another company or something, I say, well, do the guys at Coke drink Pepsis? And then they laugh. I'm like, they're supposed to hate me. That just means I'm doing a good job. I'm glad to hear that. And they love that. They're like, wow, I never thought of it that way. But yeah, you're right. And now everything Susie said about me, it's gone. Forget it. They're just like, wow, that makes total sense. Yeah, so forget her. And now they're just focused on what they care about. Because by the way, they love it so far. They want more, but now they're worried. They're like, yeah, that other agent told me that we were going to fall for your tricks, Warren, or whatever. So just be prepared. Yeah. Well, listen, they'll be bad-mouthing the guaranteed sale program. You can count on that. All those things. So you have to be sure you're really good at explaining it as a benefit to our client, and don't worry about the fact that our competitors, why wouldn't you bad-mouth it? You can't do it. So of course they're going to say bad things about it. Oh, they're not really going to buy your house. Well, we have. We will. We just have to explain it. So this is the problem in the industry. This is how most agents operate, right? They're trying to juggle all the balls. It's usually one person who's trying to do everything. That was me at the beginning of my career, trying to do everything by myself. And what I found was that's just not the way most professionals operate. And now this is a big deal. You've got to know your audience, okay? If you're speaking to a family or a single person of professionals, they're going to get this right away. right? Let's say you're talking to a doctor, an attorney, somebody like that. They have a team system in their business. They may not call it that, but they get it, right? If you're dealing with somebody who's more on the employee level, understand they may resent this sort of thing. So you have to spin it as a benefit, okay? So if I'm talking to a doctor, I may say, or let's say just anybody, I would say, when I go to the doctor's office, it's not the doctor who comes out and asks me for my insurance card and has me fill out the forms. They have other folks who do that, who specialize in that, and that way the doctor can focus on the patient care. So the doctor spends all of their time just with the patients. That way the patients get the best possible attention from the doctor. Imagine if the doctor was on the phone with Blue Cross or whoever runs the medical profession these days all day long trying to get forms taken care of and get paid and things like that. The doctor would never have any time to look at my test results and to listen to me and hear what's important to me and what hurts me and all of that. That's the same kind of thing. We have a team system that allows us to focus on what we do best. Right? So we have people who handle things, the customer service. I mentioned Carrie to you earlier. Carrie's on the phone getting all that feedback from the buyers and the buyer agents that look at your house. So I don't have to do that. I can focus on the one or the two buyers that are interested in your house. Since Carrie's come on board, what I notice is Tony has more time to chase down buyers that had shown a little bit of interest in a listing, but maybe didn't make an offer. So Tony's out there yesterday on the phone all day, scaring up potential second and third offers on his listings that right now only have one offer on them. Or he's working and massaging the offer that he has. If you take away the customer service piece, he's got too much on his plate, he can't do that. Right? So you need to really believe what I'm saying is true. These leverage points are a big deal so that we can sell more. Right? I mean, you guys see it on the buy side with certain things, but now when you're talking about the seller side, it's even more important. So we can articulate that, and that's what I talk about. Okay, so that's the benefit of the team system. And again, if I'm talking to somebody who I think might resent the idea that we have a team, I'm going to just make sure I really focus on the service piece of it. Right? Like I can't do my job. If you're a plumber, what you want to do is you want to do the best job possible with focusing on getting that work done. Right? If you're out there chasing around invoices that haven't been collected yet, or you're out there spending, now it could be one of two things. It could be a plumber that works for a big plumbing company and that's done for him. He doesn't even appreciate that it's being done for him, and I just sort of brought something up that's a benefit to him. Or he's a solo operator, he works by himself, and we can relate to how hard that is. Like, so, do you have to do your own collections? Yeah, I do, and it sucks. You're totally right. I would love to have somebody that does it like that. So now he understands the benefit. So yeah, I mean, I was doing the same thing. I was doing everything for everybody, and the customers weren't getting the best possible service that they could get. So now that we have more people, because we sell more homes, we can give better service to every customer. So just so you know, I'm not always the person to speak to. And if you call me and you ask me for something and I tell you, let me get Carrie to get back to you on that, that's not me sloughing you off to a flunky, excuse me. That's me putting the expert in touch with you so that you're getting the best possible information. Does that make sense? Okay, now I just eliminated the I want to hear from Pat at 10 o'clock at night, right? Because Pat doesn't do that. If you want to know about something that's contract to closing, Christy's going to be the one who handles that for you, not Pat. So Pat needs to not jump in and do Christy's job for her. That's our fault if we do that. We were just talking earlier about not getting into the lawyer's world. If there's contractual stuff, talk to the attorney. It's not me being a slack. You're not lazy when you delegate. You're smart. That's the point. Trust me, everyone in here has a hard work ethic. You wouldn't be here if you didn't. I see. Well, maybe, some people. No, I mean, we joke, but in all seriousness, that's a really important point. I mean, I was raised by people who taught me, you do it, you do everything. And that'll hold us back as our business grows if we try to do everything ourselves. We have to use the resources that we have so that we can all do, what we're meant to do in this company. All right, so the fact that we sell so many homes is a benefit to you guys. Last year we did 143 deals. We helped 143 people buy or sell a home. You'd want to use a better word than deals. This year we're on pace to do about between 180 and 200. So as we're growing, we're able to help more people, there's no way I could do that all by myself. Do you see that the benefit there to you? We can do all this stuff I'm talking about because we sell so many homes. And they get that. I've talked about that already once. Okay? Now, how likely is it that your home will even be sold? Let's look at some numbers here. In the area right now, and this stat's a little bit old, it's about 50%. Only half the homes are selling. But we're selling almost 3/4 of ours. So that's a big deal. A lot of home sellers, not you of course, but a lot of home sellers think every sign that goes up, the home has sold. That's not true. Half of them did not sell. I'll bet you have neighbors where you saw the sign come down and people move in and you think the home sold. And I guarantee you, in a lot of cases, that's not what happened. That home did not sell and they rented it out. That's a very, very common thing in our area right now. So never assume that a home actually was able to successfully get a buyer, because it's a coin flip in the Philadelphia area if that's going to happen or not. But with us, you can see 73.3% of the time we're getting our clients' homes sold. Right? Let's talk about money. That's probably a big deal to you, right? Yeah. Well, the average home